but that's not nor here nor there. Alex Sanchez, you were on with Nancy Grace arguing about the rape case with the swimmer who got a mere couple of days, I think, couple of weeks. Well, let's take a listen, and then I want Aphrodite to respond to what you said with Nancy Grace.
Doesn't remember anything but the amount she drank to press charges. Hold on. Unleash the lawyers. Alex Sanchez, Tina Johnson. Alex Sanchez, it's not her decision. This letter from this friend did more harm than good. It's not the girl's decision to seek charges. And to say the girl can only remember how much she drank and we shouldn't believe her, remember, he admitted to quite a bit. This is not what she said. She was comatose. Why are you looking like that, Kenya? Are you surprised?
Listen, nobody deserves to be the victim of any sexual assault. But doesn't this bring up another issue?
I need there to be a but.
Yeah, but, shouldn't people engage in common sense behavior? I mean, what kind
of sense? Don't rape an unconscious girl?
What kind of sense does it make for anybody, a girl, a boy, or anybody, to get stinking drunk to the point that...
You mean like the defendant did?
No, to the point that you don't know what's going on, you have no conscience about where you are or what you're doing or who you're going with. Shouldn't people engage in some type of behavior so as not to put themselves in a vulnerable position?
You're absolutely right. Even if that's the case, the fact that while she's unconscious, he raped her?
Well, he's not saying that. He's saying that he thought it was consensual.
Well, that's not what
and let me tell you something.
But you can't have it both ways.
No,
you can't have her comatose, and she's so drunk she's comatose, and how awful that is, and say, yes, she consented.
He
would have the right to say what they want to say in court.
He was drunk also, and he's saying, I thought it was consensual. And you know what? When you drink, your judgment is impaired.
Now you're changing gears again. First you said she's comatose. Oh, she's bad. She's a bad girl.
I'm not saying she's bad. I'm saying it was poor judgment.
About what he drank.
No.
Now you're saying, no, she was not comatose. She gave consent. Then the third thing you said was the defendant, who's been convicted of rape, says, oh, I thought it was consensual.
Well, the defendant thought it was consent. She may have been comatose, but he thought it was consent.
Oh, he thought that in his drunken stupor. He thought that. Okay, put him back up. Hold on. I'm sorry, Liz. Hold on. Back to you. Sanchez, if he thought it was consensual, when those two grad students came by on bikes and said, hey, what are you doing? Why did he get up and run away? Why did he leave the girl laying there half naked with dirt and pine straw all in her private area?
I don't know.
Why did he do that if it was consensual?
But I do know that his judgment was seriously impaired because by your own admission, not your admission, but by the scientific evidence, he had twice the legal amount of alcohol in his body. And when you have that much alcohol, your judgment is impaired.
For her. But nevertheless, he was convicted by a jury, and there's no way she should have made that kind of statement. There are no mitigating factors when you're looking at a sexual assault. He should have just apologized to her and asked for the mercy of the court. That brings up an interesting issue, Kenya, that he never showed remorse or apologized to her in court. Let's get back to the facts. Put up that screen, please, if you don't mind, again. I'm not blaming her directly, because that's just not right. Look, here I go. I'm blaming her directly. Basically, in this letter, where do we draw the line and stop worrying about being politically correct every second of the day and see that rape on campuses, it isn't always because people are racist. I think what she's trying to say is the girl was drunk. I think that it used to be Swim Star, and now he's the face of rape on campuses. Joining me right now.
Okay, Aphrodite, what is your take of this case, first of all?
Wow. Well, I think that,
yes,
this is a very touchy subject as a woman looking at this. The fact that he sexually penetrated somebody who was unconscious is, I don't see that as just impaired judgment. I see that as, they may have both been drunk, but I believe that he should have been punished, even if he wants to claim that he didn't know what he was doing or that it was consensual. I also believe that if a jury made the decision after deliberating that he was guilty, then he should have faced something closer to the 14 years in prison that he could have been sentenced to, and not been given a slap on the wrist by a judge who, didn't want to have a severe impact on this swimming star. I find it to be just a little bit of an OJ kind of thinking, a little bit of a Pistorius kind of thinking. We have our athlete star here, and he made a mistake and, drank too much, and it's just horrible that he hurt someone, but and then the athlete blames the rape of the woman on the party culture at Stanford. And what does Stanford do? Stanford doesn't stand up for rape or look into the rape culture in universities or their university, but instead bans hard liquor from undergraduate parties, which I guess that's a step in the right direction. But as a woman, I just think this was unacceptable. I just do. I mean, the idea that he would engage in this and leave the girl battered or bloodied or naked or whatever, covered in mud behind a dumpster, I think it was something. I mean, I just yuck, and beyond yuck, it's criminal. It's criminal in my opinion. It's criminal. And forgetting about my opinion, it was determined by a court that it was criminal. So why would a judge decide to take that away and give this kid a slap on the wrist? I just totally disagree with it, and I'm outraged by it. I'm saddened by it, frankly. I think more than anything, I'm saddened by it because women, for the most part, are often not believed in cases of rape, and that's why they don't bring them to the public. And it's often thought that rape is consensual when in fact it's not, and it's a very odd element of our society because it's a call only between the two people usually who are experiencing it. But in this case, this woman was unconscious, and that certainly is a clear-cut definition to me of a rape.
Alex, response?
I stand by every single word I said on that Nancy Grace show. Every single word. I'm not backtracking on anything. Yeah, and of course nobody deserves to be raped. Well, but I have two daughters. I don't advocate any type of behavior like that. But let's not ignore what I consider to be a very important issue, which a lot of people are kind of, it's not really that important, just sweep it to the side. No, it is important. I don't know why anybody, man, woman, teenager, is under any kind of belief system that you could render yourself stinking drunk or on drugs and go to a place where there's a lot of people and think nothing is going to happen to you. And
Alex,
that there
come on now.
Predator.
Are you trying to tell me that Natalie Holloway, because she was drunk and partying and landed on a beach in Aruba, therefore we should think that she was murdered and it was okay because she was her fault because she was drunk and wandering around a beach with a stranger?
Women and men and students have to exercise intelligent responsibility. Wherever you
no
are.
question. But when you are young, you don't always exercise that intelligence and responsibility.
Yeah,
not all of us have been there. And we've all done stupid things when we're young.
Yeah, and you know what? You can make that same argument for this guy who had sex with this girl when she was unconscious, that he was stupid and he was young.
Well, we can make the same argument for Jorn van der Sloot.
But
I just don't go there. I will not go there. Mm-mm.
Well, I know people don't want to go there. People have a very black and white view of this issue, but I don't think it's that black and white. I think that there's dimensions to this. One is the rampant alcohol use. The second is this crazy party culture, and this belief that you can do anything you want, and that there's some expectation that nothing is ever going to happen when you're in this unconscious, irresponsible state. And I think that needs to be addressed. Of course, nobody needs to be raped. I'm not justifying that. But I don't want my daughter, or I don't think any young people should put themselves in a vulnerable position purposely and then somehow expect or believe that nothing is ever going to happen. That's not a good lesson for anybody to learn. So,
you're making a separate point to me as I see it, and that point is more about parental guidance, I believe, and common sense.
That's true.
And I think that in this case of Stanford, one of the things that they did do in terms of, precluding hard alcohol from undergraduates on campus is a good thing in an effort to try to quell this crazy drinking that's going on and crazy behavior. However, again, I just don't want to blame the victim. I just feel like you're blaming the victim, and I just can't get with that at all.
Well,
I really can't.
You use the term. I've heard that term, blame the victim. I'm frustrated with the alleged victim because we don't know. I mean, a jury determined that he was guilty. That's true. But I'm frustrated. Person would put themselves in that position. Would put themselves in such a vulnerable position by getting so drunk she's sleeping behind a dumpster somewhere.
Yeah.
Because
I'm frustrated that Natalie Holloway put herself in a position to go walking around a beach half drunk with a stranger in Aruba. However, I don't blame Natalie Holloway. This is a young girl, just like the young girl at Stanford, who, once alcohol is involved, your judgment is impaired, no matter who you are and no matter what age you are. But when you're younger, you don't even have an experience with it to know where to stop or when to stop sometimes. So
this guy, I wouldn't bring that Aruba case. I mean, this Van der Sloot is nothing but a pathological murderer. That's all he is. That's a far cry.
But I mean, there's the correlation is just
who was drunk.
The reason I bring that up, Alex, is that for me, again, it's obviously they're not the same thing. One is murder, one is rape. But there's something about when you're trying to say don't put yourself in that position, that's what you shouldn't do. Yes, that's what we should teach our children. Absolutely. But once you're in that position, it doesn't mean that hence whatever happens, let the person get a slap on the wrist.
Well,
or get away with it.
Remember, and people are kind of making it sound like this has no value. He was stinking drunk, too. He was drunk. He was stoned. His judgment was grossly impaired. This is what alcohol does. It's a horrible drug. Alcohol is more dangerous to your body and destroys more organs in your body than things like heroin. Heroin, believe it or not.
Yes.
Yes. Alcohol is more devastating. People get sick from using heroin because they're using dirty needles and it's mixed with all kinds of other junk in there. But alcohol destroys organs and it destroys people's judgment. And this is a prime example of this 19-year-old kid who was never in trouble before, and his judgment was grossly impaired because he's drinking alcohol. Why ever allowed alcohol on the campus? I don't know. I think they bear some responsibility. But the entire blame should not be on this kid's shoulders. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm going to beg to